Did Nixon ever talk about space aliens, secret government, breakaway civilizations? That's a great question. Did Nixon ever talk about any of that?
There's a story that I think is relatively credible that comes from one of Jackie Gleason's wives. Gleason lived in Miami and was a great pal of Nixon's. They played golf together regularly. More importantly, they drank together. Jackie had an enormous capacity for alcohol. Nixon had almost none. Gleason's wife told a credible reporter that her husband told her that Gleason once asked the president whether there was extraterrestrial life, whether there were UFOs, what was the story. Nixon, who'd had a few pops, arranged for a car to take them out to the western part of the county near Homestead, where they went to a government facility. And Jackie said he saw actually captive space aliens and other fragments from space that indicated other civilizations.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
All right, Roger, you were getting into Broward County, and I understand you helped get rid of the last sheriff. Your son's on the sheriff's department there in what is now known as Coward County. But you were getting into, your son's a great guy, great patriot, I know him well. But getting back to this whole situation with the other town standing down, it's just crazy. These mass shootings keep happening in San Bernardino or in Broward County, or in Denver or Littleton. They're always in blue areas. Everywhere it's a red area, Garland or wherever, people shoot the shooter in a matter of minutes, sometimes 60 seconds. I mean, the school resource guys they don't play games in red state. They kill you in seconds, but they always stand down in blue areas.
Let's recognize that Broward County is the single most liberal county in Florida. This is a Democratic liberal bastion with a very large African-American, Hispanic, and Jewish population. This is the most liberal, progressive, politically correct county in the state. The question here, there are two questions. One, the county does not have a consolidated 911 emergency service. The sheriff has argued for one, but some towns have refused to opt in, insisting on taking their own 911 calls. That's why the initial call about the shooter at Parkland goes to the Coral Springs Police, and they dispatch officers. Coral Springs Police now are refusing to cooperate with the state inquiry. Their officers will not be deposed under oath by the state unless they are subpoenaed to do so. So some kind of cover-up appears to be going on. The sheriff's office.
But what about the one guy that ran the school safety who stood outside on the video?
I think in his case that we already know the answer. He was a coward, despite the fact that he had 37 years in training for just this moment, despite the fact that he taught SWAT tactics in these situations to other BSO officers, despite the fact that his own training had been upgraded post-Columbine. He froze. He went yellow. The sheriff said it. The president said it. Sadly, they appear to be right. But are there others? We don't know yet.
Sickening, sickening. I mean, I just know somebody's in a building shooting young people. I'm going to go in there. You couldn't get, while it's not even like a courage thing, it's like an instinct. People are killing innocents. I want to kill them. And I'm not bloodthirsty, except when that's happening. It's like I want to go kill them. You know what I mean, Roger? It's like it's I don't know how you wouldn't go kill this guy, you know?
I mean, I think the good news is that unlike Las Vegas, where there's so many missing pieces, no videos, and so on, there's an indelible record of everything that happened in Parkland. There are cameras, there are sound systems, there are monitors.
Well, I hope they don't tear the building down like they did in Sandy Hook. Let's go ahead and talk to Jay in California. Jay, thanks for holding. I appreciate that. Go ahead. That caller's gone. Let's go to another caller, but home the longest. Kevin in the great state of West Virginia. You're on the air. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Roger. I got a couple things for you, Alex, and then I have a pretty wild curveball question for Mr. Stone. A couple-parted question.
Go ahead.
Number one, with David Hogg, I disagree with you a tiny little bit on who he is. I think he's a crisis actor, and I also believe he's a sacrificial lamb. I think something's going to happen to him, and I hope nothing does, but I have a feeling they're going to use him.
Well, that's what Matt Bracken says. Because I've never seen such censorship to criticize him and misrepresentation. There's something weird swirling around him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know in Texas this weekend there's going to be a First and Second Amendment auditors. There's about 500 of them coming to audit a police department that pulled an AR-15 on a guy that was walking along and just had his pistol holstered. They're going to try to audit that police department, you know, and flesh it out. But I'm a little bit concerned with the Border Patrol, the National Guard coming down at the same time that this is going to happen.
Is that C.J. Grisham you're talking about?
I think so.
Yeah. We should get him on, by the way. Go ahead.
And then for Mr. Roger, a few months ago, I've been trying to I wanted to talk to you about this, Mr.
Well,
Stern.
you're talking to him now. Go ahead.
A few months ago, you have been quoted by a Miss Linda Moulton Howe off of EarthFiles.com, and this is in reference to Richard Nixon, about Project Houston or Project or Operation Houston. I was curious to know if you knew anything about that, and about the 3 secret meetings that Nixon had underneath the White House.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, they said you were Nixon's best friend in the last 15 years of his life, and a lot of other stuff. The point is, you were in the Nixon White House. The only one of the plumbers didn't go to prison. Did Nixon ever talk about space aliens, secret government, breakaway civilizations? That's a great question. Did Nixon ever talk about any of that?
There's a story that I think is relatively credible that comes from one of Jackie Gleason's wives. Gleason lived in Miami and was a great pal of Nixon's. They played golf together regularly. More importantly, they drank together. Jackie had an enormous capacity for alcohol. Nixon had almost none. Gleason's wife told a credible reporter that her husband told her that Gleason once asked the president whether there was extraterrestrial life, whether there were UFOs, what was the story. Nixon, who'd had a few pops, arranged for a car to take them out to the western part of the county near Homestead, where they went to a government facility. And Jackie said he saw actually captive space aliens and other fragments from space that indicated other civilizations. This is in my book, Tricky Dick, The Rise and Fall and Rise of Richard M. Nixon, which you can get through Amazon or through Barnes & Noble. I think it may even be on the InfoWars site. This is a new book that I have just put forward.
So we're talking about to the moon without a rocket here.
Exactly, as Jackie Gleason would say. So I recently went to a restaurant. There was a great picture of, there it is. This is a great picture. On the left, the great one. On the left, the one. On the right, the great one.
What a couple characters, huh?
Well, Gleason had endorsed Nixon in the '68 campaign. Gleason was a wild man when it came to wine, women, song, and fine tailoring. And he moved his show to Miami Beach, the fun and sun capital of the world. He never was dabbled in politics, but he made a very effective endorsement spot for Nixon in 1968, in which he said, look, I'm in show business, but I'm an American, and why Dick Nixon was right for America. Great man, Jackie Gleason. Loved America.
You know, thanks, Kevin. They're just mad that we were right and picked Trump, and now the country's come back. So much is happening. Troops are going to the border. Normal stuff's happening. I mean, they are just so pissed that I guess Dad came back home. I mean, I don't know. What are they going to do next, Roger?
Look, I still think that they're trying to lay some process crime on the president pertaining to Comey or
oh, you know they are. They keep saying, like, a former prosecutor says that the president can be indicted and put in jail when that's not true in the Constitution. He has to be impeached first, or you'd have every, group out there doing it every day. So they're, you're right. You've been proven right. So he's going to announce crimes against Kushner or somebody else. They're going to announce the president, a grand jury's indicted him. They're going to try to beat the drum about that. That's where it's going. And I guess the president just sits there and lets Mueller be on tarmacs with uranium.
No, well, here's the point, though. The president's gaining strength. As the economy gets stronger, he gets stronger.
And you're right. His approval rating, even in their skewed polls, is going up, which makes him go even more crazy.
If he pulls off a peace deal or the denuclearization of North Korea, this is, by the way, where the real pity that the tax cuts weren't done earlier, weren't done first, because they still won't have their full effect by the 18 elections. They are going to turbocharge this economy, but it will take some time.
And the left's trying to bring down the economy, too. We've got Rappaport coming up after this break. We have 20 seconds. My gut tells me Trump's unstoppable unless they assassinate him. I think they're going to try to kill him.
Well, we pray against that every single day. We pray for the safety of the president and his family. But just getting as many death threats as I get, as many as I know you get, Alex, threats against my wife, my children, even in Texas, they hate this, my dogs. It's outrageous. They are prone to violence, and they're extraordinary.
But they're only waking us up, so they better get ready for the serious political ass whooping.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
The globalists are losing, but they're doubling down their attacks. There's one thing they fear, and it's people power. InfoWars has defeated their censorship so far only because of you spreading the links, spreading the articles, subscribing, clicking the notification buttons, and getting the articles and videos out. But they are intensifying their censorship, so now it's more important than ever to ensure we keep the First Amendment alive and well right here in America and free speech worldwide. So from Australia to countries in Africa, to Europe, to Mexico, to right here in the USA, I salute you all for taking action and defending free speech. We will prevail. InfoWars Life Brain Force Plus is our #1 selling product by leaps and bounds, and for a good reason. Going back about 5 years ago, we did research on what top selling nootropics were, what were most popular, what were best, what people liked, and we made it even stronger. Then we cut the price because leading competitors have 5 to 7 times markup. We only have 150%, and then it helps fund our operation. Well, now it's 50% off. That means we've got a 25% markup, and we've got it paired with the Real Red Pill that takes about 7 days to kick in. Brain Force takes about 30 minutes. But the two go together. It's the Mind and Body Challenge. They're both 50% off individually, or together they're 50% off and free shipping with the combo at InfoWarsLife.com. But it's got to end in a couple days because both of these bestsellers are about to sell out. InfoWarsLife.com to get your Brain Force Plus and Real Red Pill today.